everyone, and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. I am one of your hosts today. I am Fletcher, and I am going to be playing my horrible little detective named Camille. And joining me today is a very good friend and a very cool and talented storyteller who I am very excited to be doing an FPS with.
Ah, hi, I'm Arthur. I have a cryptid. I hold them up. They're called rubber and glue, or glue for short. Um, yup, I do finger guns. I'm not off kilter. You're off kilter. Let's go.
I give you gentle finger guns, and
Mm.
they are extremely affectionate finger guns. So,
Ah,
to start the scene, Camille has sure been a little bit worried about a certain tall detective friend of his, considering how things did not really end well the last time he talked to Tome. And when he tried to send Tome a letter, he got a very concerning reply. So now he's decided to take matters into his own hands. And honestly, with ample notice to his connections in Bealestown, because Toontown is just like that, he is going to. He's kind of been frequenting the libraries in Toontown since he knows that Tome is from Toontown, and he knows that detectives can't stay away from libraries for too long. So he figures that if he does this, then he will probably eventually run into a certain uh a certain grim tone. But
mhm.
and so that's probably what brings him to this library today. It's most likely not his first time doing this, and he's kind of pretty obviously not looking for a book.
Mm. Could he just start us out with Can you roll me a perception check?
Okay. Okay, cool. We have the opportunity for some funsies here. Um, I apologize to you because I think this is. I apologize to you over Camille's modifiers once again.
He is equally broken with perception as TOC. I have no room to talk.
Fair.
Um, with a 15. Let me, let me roll something that I think is on their part unintentional. Nope, that needs to be a exclamation mark. All right, sorry, it's been okay.
Okay, that's a dirty
So
20.
that's a dirty 20. So, oh my gosh, one moment.
Okay, I believe in you.
You exist to torture my soul. Sorry, my cat's here.
Yeah, pets be
Come on,
like
baby.
that.
Sweetheart, darling, come here, dear. The criminal has arrived. Do you need love? Yes. Please be quiet. Okay, so you don't necessarily see anything, but you do hear things. They say that something stalks the halls and the walls of this library. Something pale, tall, shambling, uh, that follows the echoes of things that perhaps shouldn't be repeated. Um, and this, like, it's not so much, like, there's not Bigfoot sightings, but there are whispers. And you're a detective, you thrive on whispers.
Exactly.
Um,
Not to mention, some people probably would describe Tome as tall, pale, and shambling.
so you're like, a lead. Perhaps he's, just sort of camped out here. So that's certainly a lead that you can undergo. Uh, there's also I'll say because it's a 15, um it's a pass. There's certain aspects of this phenomena that are and it is a phenomena. People aren't sure if like there's a critter, there's a ghost, there's several sort of albino squirrels in a white trench coat. Um but it doesn't quite make sense because sometimes there's pattering. There's like children's whispers and children's giggles. Things that are incongruous with one Tome and two a creature of this size.
Yep, so that is very interesting. And he is absolutely making note of that. Thank you.
Hmm. What can I ask? How would Camille um go about following this up?
Um, Currently he's probably just going to start off with like uh wandering around the library, probably at times where people are more likely to see uh or at least think that they saw something out of the ordinary. So
Hmm.
usually around like sunset and after dark and all of that, because cryptids don't usually show up in broad daylight.
Mm,
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But for
hmm.
now, he's for now.
No,
Oh,
sorry, not you. You're fine. Um, could you then roll me a perception or an investigation?
it is the same modifier.
Oh
That's a
boy.
dirty 20.
Okay, a dirty 20. In that case, I am going to roll my own perception, which is um less egregious. 12. Okay. Um so I think that you have through a series of Rube Goldberg ish happenings, you found yourself in the secret passages in this library. Hey, there's secret passages here. Maybe you didn't know that. But now you're in them. Um and there, it's a little bit labyrinthian, but you're Camille. You're a detective. This is a puzzle. You're basically built to eat this for breakfast. Um, so you can tell that something somewhere in um this labyrinthian uh system of close bookshelf tunnels is something that is whispering, or not whispering, but whistling. You can go towards it, you can go away from it, but either way, you're going to have to roll something to sort of figure out where it is.
Mhm. Honestly, I think, um, considering your boy's curiosity normally outweighs any sense of self-preservation he has, he's gonna go try and sneakily get closer to the whistling.
Mm. Roll me a straight intelligence and then a stealth.
Alright, so that's his straight intelligence, and
Okay.
that is his stealth.
Okay. So you've got this. You've got this. You're sneaky. You're a sneaky little critter. Um, and you are able to peer around the corner of a bookshelf, and you see a tall, tall, very tall. Oh God, why are they so tall? Toon wielding a proportionally sized broom. They have sort of long, sort of lank, grayish white hair. Um, their whole sort of countenance is very pale. They've got sort of faded patchwork work shirt and overalls and good sturdy boots. Um, and as they turn, you can see two things. One is they've got large, very reflective, blank mirror-like eyes. So reflective that you can see the bookshelf next to them in them, and you can see that their mouth is just sort of hanging open, and the whistling is coming out as if from a speaker.
Oh,
And
that's
they
fun.
have not noticed you.
That's very
No.
fun. Um, okay. So, I apologize for not bringing this up earlier because I did straight up forget to mention it. Uh,
No?
Camille has a funny little thing where he can kind of hear the themes. Since he is half an XP from a rhythm game, he can kind of hear the themes of places and people. So I hand
Hmm.
that to you if you want to do anything funky with that.
Oh, excellent. This person is interesting then to you because they don't seem to have one.
mm.
They, from with that sort of sense, it is very much as if there's no one in this hallway except perhaps yourself.
Yeah, he does not like that. That feels very weird to him because usually, except in certain cases, only the dead don't have rhythms.
Mm,
So, yeah, that definitely unsettles him a little bit. And
mm.
hmm, I
I will say, in the time you are observing this fellow, they have stopped whistling and started. As the whistling stops, their mouth shuts and they seem to think, and then they open their mouth again, and humming comes out.
interesting.
Again, just sort of like their jaws sagging open a little, just slightly. Not so to be sloppy, just like yeah, they just kind of
Yeah, I think um I'm gonna roll another stealth for Camille because his plan, at least what he's giving me, is to kind of find a place to hide and observe this person for a while. Uh,
mm-hmm.
and yeah, that is what I thought. You horrible, horrible little detective who can't roll good on stealth for very long.
Mm-hmm. Um, you boy detective, master of stealth, um, start to ease, in the direction you'd like to, and you step directly on a floorboard which creaks horribly and loudly, and uh, the the figure stops and stands upright, and you hear an echo of that same uh, floorboard creak emanating from them.
Oh boy. Yeah, he
Mm,
has kind of frozen and is, oh boy, this person is very, very, very tall and he is very, very, very small.
mm.
Like, I think on
And
the height
they,
chart, like, he probably only comes up to Glue's knee, if that, so that's fun.
mm, yeah, they very slowly turn and make eye contact with you, and their head tilts and tilts and tilts until they are looking at you almost upside down. You can roll an insight check if you want.
Sure, don't mind if I do. Because he also has a horrible modifier in that.
Dirty 20, okay. Um, it's they they step fully to face you and sort of crouch down, sort of like knees and elbows lifting in sort of this spiderish Jack Skellington almost motion. Um, but there's not necessarily an expression, but something about their countenance. Um, you don't think they're going to hurt you. In fact, they're sort of like, oh, there's a child unattended in a library.
There is a child loose in a library.
Mm. But I think actually they're just sort of taking in, how small you are, and like this actually with a dirty 20, you can tell that like this is a new consideration. That like, oh, you are are very small. People who are very small sometimes need help. Um, but they're hesitating before they just sort of like go over. Um, however, they're probably trying in their sort of horrible cryptid way to sort of be on your level, like conversationally, and they're not saying anything.
Are you telling me they just do a scoot over to Camille?
They sort of do almost like a cat that sees a plastic bag but isn't sure what it is. Um, they're sort of like on all fours, sort of spiderishly, like slowly skittering closer, but not too close.
Yeah, I think at this point Camille kind of just awkwardly waves at Glue like, uh, hi?
Uh, Hi. Their head tilts, a good 320 degrees to the other side.
He's doing just fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Uh, and he kind of just uh notes that that Glue kind of repeated what he said, and that kind of goes in with what he was hearing earlier. So that's fine. That's fine. And I think
So you
he's
found your man or your cryptid. You're them.
yep. I have found my they. It has been so long. And what are you gonna say?
They like if the silence sort of goes on, they will let it sort of settle in this hallway. They won't they will let him take his time deciding.
Mhm. I think after a bit to kind of get his frazzled nerves a little bit back in order, he kind of just makes himself relax a little bit and is just, do you work here?
They reach into the bib of their overalls and they pull out. Actually, they fumble again. I swear to fucking god. Okay, they fumbled like 4 times in the Tome FPS. And as such, Tome got so much fucking shit. Um,
Oh yeah, uh my boy also fumbled so much in a Tome FPS. He also fumbles a lot in general.
mm, but this time they take out what appears to be a simple but ornate business card with very very nice handwriting on it that says, rubber and your glue, they, them, janitor, Toontown Public Library. Rubber and your glue is all one word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he kind of takes the card, looks it over, and there is you don't have to roll insight for this. There is a moment where he just appreciates it, I guess. Like, oh,
Mm.
that's efficient. That's nice.
Mm.
And hands it back to Glue. Uh, as he's just, oh, well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
He definitely has further relaxed knowing that, okay, yeah, this person is very much supposed to be here. They're just like that, and that's fine.
Mm. I think they sort of they tilt their head slowly back to, the resting position of a, your average head, and they go in a voice that you maybe recognize as one of the librarians. They go, and who might you be?
All right, and legally he has to answer this a certain way. So he stands up a little bit straighter and is just Camille Christie, detective.
Hmm. They sort of start and blink at you, which is you have been staring at two twin Camille's in their eyes this entire time, and they go, a kid detective. We met on a case. He's the smartest person his age I've ever met. In a very um familiar tone, a tome, you might say.
Yes, that very much gets him to blink. Because, okay, one, that sure is a compliment, and two, wait a minute.
Mm.
And
And then they sort of they sort of sit crisscross applesauce on the ground in front of you, which is upsetting given how much limb they have. Um, and they followed up with, "Who's Camille? Oh, he's someone from Villagetown." Again, in Tome's voice.
man, you're very good at imitating how he speaks.
I may have practiced.
You're so valid. It is very, very good. You are very, very talented.
I do. I hide.
You cannot escape my compliments. And I think Camille kind of just blinks and is just, you know, Tome?
Yes, Grim Tome, private detective. And they
Hat.
just sort of like do a nod, like, yeah, he's good.
Mhm. And Camille, his mind has immediately shifted to, okay, this is a lead.
Mm.
And as he's just, have you seen him recently? Do you know where he is?
They sort of blink at you, and they go, and what do you mean by that?
Um, and he kind of, uh, taps his fingers against the side of his neck, like, well, I've been looking for him recently. I haven't been able to see him too much, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried.
A
And
little bit worried.
yeah, alright. That is a deception because he is hiding some of the finer points there. I am so sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
Hmm.
as he's just, uh, yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Uh, well, as you know, I'm from Vealstown, so, I figured my best chance at running into him outside of a case would be to go to libraries. You know the stereotype about detectives in libraries.
Mm. They nod. They seem to be sort of thinking something over. Um, I'm going to roll insight. Um, not against that fucking 28. Holy fuck. But um, what's your insight? That's not bad. 12.
All right.
Mm.
Uh, what are you trying to see with that?
They're trying to get a beat on the situation because it's, you know, they maybe don't get that he's hiding something, or there's something more going on, or anything like that. But like, I'm wondering if they get that there's any part of this moment in time that is not what it seems to be.
Um, well, he very much is actually pretty worried. Uh, you probably can tell that there's a bit of an undertone of a different emotion there, though it's a little bit hard to pinpoint. It
Mm,
it's definitely running under and through the worry though. And also, if you want to, since you are looking closely at him, you can roll investigation.
sure. 16.
Okay, yeah, you beat it. Yeah, the as you kind of peer at Camille, you notice the kind of telltale signs of an illusion, specifically something like disguise self. Uh, and you can see past it to tell that this kid is using an illusion to look full toon. Uh, when
Mm,
you look past it, he's quite obviously more half toon. He's got more realistic shading. He still has an outline, but has a lot more detail that is better suited for a real kind.
mm-hmm. Okay. They. Hmm. Actually, let me find. Oh, hush. Sorry, not you. I think that you see the reflection of yourself in their eyes flicker to what's underneath uh, the illusion for just a second, and they're going to cast detect evil and good. And I will put this in the chat.
All right.
Oh, that formatted weird. But for the recording, for the duration, you know if there is an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. You also know if there's a place and object within that range that has been magically consecrated or desecrated.
All right.
So, is he an aberration, a celestial, an elemental, a fae, a fiend, or an undead?
Okay. Let me just. Camille for sure is not any of those. He is just a normal half human real kind toon. Um and he definitely hasn't magically consecrated or desecrated anything. Uh
Mm,
he Listen, he's not normal, but his not normalness is in a different direction from that. Uh,
mm,
Creature wise, as far as the spell is concerned, he is not one of those.
mm-hmm. They, um, they sort of they do a motion with their hands and a wave of it almost looks like if you've when you turn light or glass that has an imperfection in it and it ripples through the imperfection. um it almost looks like that happens in a slow wave for 30 feet. And they sort of look around and they see they are getting, pings and things off, different books on the shelves, but none from you. um and they sort of like they put their elbows on their knees and their face in their hand and just sort of stare, trying to figure out what to do next. You can roll insight if you want.
sure, don't mind if I do. Okay, you disgusting little boy. I love that whenever he gets a roll above 10, it immediately drags it into the absolutely disgusting, terrifying territory.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is I think with a 25, you kind of you have a good read on their personality. um Sort of from your interaction so far. This is someone who they don't have much of a personality, but they are very careful. They know to be pretty careful in general, not like especially in matters that might result in a detective asking about you, and not telling the entire truth. And they aren't operating um, under the assumption that you mean Tome wrong, but they feel almost duty bound or honored bound to make sure that you're chill and fine and not going to fuck up, anything before they give you information.
Hmm.
They don't know what, if anything, is wrong. They just know that they don't know something.
That is valid. I think on seeing that, Camille's just gonna go with, oh, I don't mean to, hurt him or anything. I really am worried. If anything, I've kind of been like a sidekick to him.
Insight check.
uh,
Against the horrible child, Camille. That's his face. 14.
I am so, so sorry.
Mm, mm,
I'm so
yep.
sorry. uh, yeah, he sure does seem to uh mean it when he says that he is a sidekick to Tome. If anything, the hesitance is because he's a little bit embarrassed to admit it.
Mm. I think that they sort of settle on their haunches and regard him, and they go, "A kid detective. We met on a case. He's the smartest person his age I've ever met. Good heart too. Nosy. Needs to learn to keep himself out of others' cases. He's going to get himself in danger one of these days. I hope he's doing better now. When I last saw him, he was hurting. Sorry. We should focus on the case some more. I don't need to get lost in thoughts of people who have already moved on."
Man. I
This is, by the way, direct quotes from Spec. Thank you, Spec. Love you, Spec. I'm sorry
God.
that I'm using your gift for evil.
Man, I think Camille, he actually looks a little bit saddened at that. Uh, as he really said all that about me, huh?
They're quiet. They're just sort of very gently remark regarding him. I think they say in a very young voice. They say, "Well, what happened?"
And he sighs like, well, we had a little bit of a disagreement the last time we talked. He was trying to do something alone, and I recently got in trouble for doing the same thing. So I thought that I should make sure he wasn't making the same mistake. Um,
The
things
same mistake.
he nods like, yeah, I ran off into a dangerous situation alone and kind of paid the price for it. Uh, well, you heard what Tome said. That was in regards to that. And I didn't want him to get hurt like I did. So
Get hurt like I did.
he nods again. Like,
Mm,
Tom was trying to run off into cases and stuff by himself. And I worried that he was going to run off one day and then not come back.
mm, oh boy, it's hmm. Their their head sort of snaps back at that, almost as if something has almost as if that physically pushed them back a little bit, and then they look confused as if they're not sure why they had that reaction.
Huh. Can I insight that? Or
Sure,
am I not gonna get anything more?
you absolutely can.
Alright.
21. God, this child is so broken. I love him. Um,
He is the perfect way for getting lore out of characters because he's just so very broken when it comes to that. And he's a manipulative little shit, too.
I guess. Um, you can see that something about having a mentor disappear in a way that is counter to their teachings. Like something about this hits incredibly personally for them, but in such a way that um they don't really understand themselves. Like this is they quite don't quite know. Like it's you have a better idea of what they're feeling than they do. Um and you know it's above a 20. You can also see as they consider this, that sort of slowly drains away and they are left, as taciturn as before.
Yeah, I think Camille probably winces a bit. Like, sorry, did that happen to you?
They shrug.
You don't know?
They nod.
And he kind of blinks, and
Mm.
you can kind of see the gears start to churn in his head as he. There is a moment where he kind of mentally just switches tracks. Because,
Oh
yeah,
boy.
he's very concerned for Tome and wants to find Tome, but this person is also right in front of him and he cannot deny someone that he might be able to help.
Oh boy, I hold them soft. I think that they fish around in their overall bib and they pull out one of Tome's business cards and sort of offer it like, yes, indeed, look at this. This is relevant to this situation. Um, this might be, possibly how they know Tome. It might be, possibly why they're in contact with Tome. But they're sort of holding it out as if it's self-evident.
Mhm. Camille does look at that and nod and is just, so is you not knowing related to why Tome said he was working on a case with you?
They nod and they um I think they sort of like regard him in almost this like you got a 21 in this sort of like grave piercing manner, like this very like almost forbidding, but like as if they're weighing a matter of the utmost importance. And then they stand up, not all the way, but enough to like walk, and they sort of like start walking down the hall and then wait for you to catch up.
Yeah. And Camille does scurry after, and I use the word scurry because Glue has very long legs, so it takes him so many little steps to keep in pace.
Mm, they go slow enough for him to follow them up staircases, down winding passages. At one point, you have to walk along the ceiling. On one point, you have to walk along the wall. Like they're designed for this. You don't need any. Like it's just sort of an MC Escher situation.
Hmm.
Um, and then they lead you out onto the roof and walk purposely over to it looks like there's a belfry on this library, and they climb up the ladder. There's child-sized steps as well, and push open the trapdoor and go inside and leave it open for you.
Yep. And Camille certainly follows.
Mm. And by the time you get inside, you see this sort of kaleidoscopic room. There's a clock, and the clock face seems to be made of iridescent glass in such a way that as the sun moves, the glass reflects different colors into this room and sort of bathes it in it. And right now, it's appropriately a sort of warm, sort of autumny orange. And you can see there's a lot of actually, children's stuff in here, younger than you. Like you can see a bed that's also like a desk, that's also like princess tower. It's very pink. You see stuffed animals everywhere. You know, this is obviously lived in by probably a slightly spoiled child.
No.
Um, and there's also a bed frame with a mattress on it, uh, and you know a very high, skinny uh, bookshelf, uh, crammed with musty-looking books that look very on brand for Glue. But Glue themselves is standing. Um, there's a tiny little fridge next to the bed, but there's also a very tall fridge next to them, out of which they have taken, it seems, some cheese and some bread, and they're standing by the counter and staring sort of through the toaster, which is ticking away merrily.
Oh.
There's a low table that you can sit at, surrounded by cushions.
Oh, I hold that very gently. I think
Mm,
Camille's looking around and kind of taking mental note of everything
mm.
before he.
Actually,
Oh,
you could roll an investigation on sort of the history of this room.
alright. Well, I guess you can't get a good roll on everything, though. Also, modifier, though.
Hmm. You can see like this was probably, I will say the Glue style furniture is much older and dustier than the little kid furniture. Those have been here for much longer. And along one wall is looks like a pretty sizable like burn mark that's been mostly scrubbed away.
Hmm, interesting.
I think that's probably all you get with an 18. Um, and as you're sort of taking this in, Glue walks over and they set down a grilled cheese in front of you and a glass of water.
He kind of just blinks like, oh, uh, thank you. You didn't have to.
Mm. They have some untoasted bread, and it looks like an um just like a single slice of American cheese, and they put the corner of the American cheese in their mouth and just chew, separate from the bread.
I feel kind of he's looking at that and is just gonna ah, it's fine. The only thing he's gonna ask is are you sure that's enough for you?
They nod emphatically. They look at the pieces of bread contemplatively as if they might not even get to that.
And he nods at that, like, well, that is fair. He
Mm.
doesn't know 100% how this person works, so, if they seem fine with it, that's fine. And he probably, as he kind of settles in, I'm going to make a roll to see if he can fish his notebook out of his hammer space.
Oh boy.
Uh,
Oh, actually, I just realized my water's on the opposite end of the room. I will be
go
right
get
back.
water.
Baby, no, nice baby. Do not do good
Uh-oh, crimes.
crimes. I have the cat version of Camille, I'm realizing.
That is fair. Uh, he
He's cute and
does
he's horrible and he's a delight to all who know him.
this just in. Camille's a cat.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So he got a 3, but fun fact is that with him being Halftoon, his hammer space is, and for a few other reasons, his hammer space is a little bit funkier than most, so that is, for him, unfortunately, a fumble.
Oh boy.
So here we go.
Here we go.
All right. Uh, yeah, well, I guess you're going straight for the lore item. That's a number.
Oh
He
boy.
he pulls out uh a few books that are kind of singed around the edges. And if you want to, you can make a perception to see if you can read the titles.
Yes, please. Let me double check because I don't play this cryptid enough. Okay. 12. Eh.
Yeah, you can't make out it entirely, especially with some of the soot. You can make out that the last name of the author is Leighton, though, and
Ooh.
he looks at it for a moment with kind of an almost sad, nostalgic look before he puts that back in his hammer space. Like, sorry, that
Mm.
wasn't what I wanted.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would the library have any other books by this author?
Um, Probably actually. Especially since this particular author did live in Toontown. At least for part of her career.
In
So,
that case, they put their cheese down on the table, no plate, hold up a finger, and sort of shoot themselves through the trapdoor, and you have been left alone in this room.
Camille's kind of just staring at where uh Glue left, like, okay.
Mm. And you have time to do whatever Snoop and Camille would like to do before they come back. Exactly that amount of time, though.
Yeah, he is going to um put do the anime thing where you kind of put like a corner of the sandwich in your mouth, uh, and kind of munch on it a bit as he stands up to do a little bit of snooping. Uh, not
So,
not too much though. Uh, he currently has grilled cheese sandwich mouth, so that's only a 14.
the 14. Um, I mean, you probably get the brand of the store that the little kids furniture is from. It's I forget what we called it, but it's fantasy IKEA. Um, you get there's an awful lot of like extremely large bird of prey feathers for some reason in a couple of the corners, as if someone missed them while sweeping.
Huh. Camille does pick
Um,
one up,
yep.
and he slides it into his hammer space. He does not
Okay.
know why he has the urge to do that, but sometimes you just want, ooh, big feather.
Actually, taking a note. You also see you can probably make out the the bottom shelf of Glue's bookshelf is devoted to picture books. There's lots of fairy princesses. There's lots of superheroes. There's lots of oddly enough books about chickens. Um, Not sure what that's about. But then above that is a healthy mix of looks like some fantasy, a little bit of romance, and then lots and lots of theory books, specifically on um, arcane theory.
Hmm.
Um, you see, a couple. You see a treatise on the use of necromancy and arcane agriculture, which you might know as a pretty significant work in that very specific field.
Mm-hmm.
Um, See a couple on like multi-classing and the effects that has, especially on spellcasters. Um, just, you know, a little bit too weighty for, like, a layperson with an interest, but not necessarily like, um, someone who's devoted their life.
Hmm.
Is there anything else Camille would like to look at?
Um, hmm. He might take a closer look at the clock.
Mm, the clock is beautiful. You can actually, if you put your face up to the glass, and sort of little kid squish it up there, you can actually see, the orange lenses are in use right now, but there's also purple, pink, blue, red, gray, black for some reason. And you can sort of you can detect that as the sun changes, the light will fall on different lenses. Um, and I think you also, 14, it's made to be noticed. You see a maker's mark towards along one of the sides that you recognize. You don't recognize the individual, maybe, but you can tell that they're from an artisanal clan from overseas called the Crossouts.
Hmm, interesting.
Hmm. And at that point, oh, one more detail. You can see on the counter behind you is a gingham cloth, and underneath it is another freshly made grilled cheese and a glass of water.
Oh,
Uh, spe- Presumably waiting for someone.
yeah. He probably has a guest, uh, considering the layout of the room.
Hmm. And at that point, Glue comes up with as many latent books as they were physically able to find.
Oh,
And they sort of set them carefully on the table and basically start laying them out for you to peruse.
yeah. I want to do an insight on Camille.
Sure.
Also, did Glue just grab any book that had the last name Layton on it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh
With
my
that
gosh.
17, I yeah, he kind of blinks at that before he gets a sort of sad smile on his face as he's just like, "Oh, you didn't need to do that. It's okay."
They sort of shrug. They're an employee library, or an employee of the library. Um, and you can actually, uh, Fletch, question:
Yes.
if they could have, um, you know how libraries have records of like yearbooks and stuff?
Mhm.
They would have very quickly gone through those. Um, like if to see if there was a um if there was a person with the name of the author, um who was a graduate in Toontown, in Billstown.
Yeah. I would it would Glue have only looked through Toontown stuff, or would the library have even Vealstown yearbooks?
They would have looked for Billstown shit because they know that he's from Billstown.
Okay.
It I will, if this is going to cause problems, I'll say that they didn't have anything. But like I think it's a fairly large library.
Yeah. They might maybe not the Vealstown book specifically because that one does have something rather incriminating in it. for a certain
Uh-huh.
someone. But for Toontown books, you they're actually you would probably pull out. Um, there's a yearbook that does have the face of one Sam Layton, probably around 13 or so years old, just before he graduated from high school.
Mm.
So, considering the fact that he's a little teenager and that, probably not too much resemblance between that Sam Layton and this Camille Christie, but that's fun.
Mm.
uh,
There's like there's a moment where they look at the photo, they look at the Camille, they look at the photo, they look at Camille, they look at the photo, they look at Camille, and completely miss, what's right in front of them because they're not a detective. And they just sort of set it gently off to the side for him to get to later.
yeah. Um, would Glue have gone through news articles?
Um, I'll say yes, but only the ones that were digitized because they were gone for only like, maybe half hour tops.
Yeah, Glue probably would have pulled up quite a few news articles about a certain detective, Sam Layton. Uh, probably, since most of them are in the last 3 or so years, there probably is a good few that have been digitized. I'm
Hmm.
going to guess.
Oh boy.
Uh,
It could they roll?
um, to piece the stuff together, or
Because they now know that this Sam Layton was a detective.
uh, if you want to, though, I will say it's going to be a pretty high DC.
Which skill would that be? Or would that
I
be, just be int?
probably a straight int to connect the dots.
Okay. Here, int
The
is
modifier is less important than the roll on the dice itself. I
okay.
finger gun it.
I don't expect much from this cryptid, but here we go. Nope.
Okay, unfortunately, you do not. Um, this half-toon detective is completely different from the other half-toon detective.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the little issue of Sam Layton being dead.
I think like there's sort of a montage of them going through these and like getting a little bit invested because like it's detective stories. Hell yeah. And then they get to the very end one, and you can see them sort of like, well, because there's
Oh,
not a happy ending.
I'm so sorry to Glue.
They're fine. They're fine. Worse things have happened. Anyways.
Yeah, okay, sure. Anyways, uh,
Sorry, I'm being mean on purpose.
no, you're good. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, so that is the information that you can definitely get. There's probably also a few mentions of a Tana Layton, though she's less prominent in news than her son is, until her also unfortunate demise in the
Mhm.
same event. But it's fine. Uh, back to the present. Camille probably goes over and picks up one of the mystery novels written by Tana Layton and is just like, uh, don't worry, I really don't need to uh, borrow these.
Mm. They look up from the last news article, and for the first time, like they have had, like you've gotten impressions of what they're feeling, but like it's the first time so far that you can actually see, a look of sadness on their face.
And Camille blinks as he's just, oh, what's wrong?
Mm. They show him the article.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. He can handle that today. He can handle that today. And he kind of looks at it and is just like, oh, yeah, that was pretty sad, wasn't it?
Mm. They open their mouth and, God damn it, I have a little bit of a sore throat from something that happened earlier. But here we go. They open their mouth and go, sometimes you just don't get a happy ending, and that's that. And they sort of will, as if saying that has made them sadder.
Camille kind of reaches out, as if to give Glue a comforting pat, though he does pause a bit beforehand, as if kind of silently asking if that would be an okay thing to do.
Mm. Uh, they don't flinch away or anything.
Camille gives them a bit of a gentle pat, like, that is
Mm.
unfortunately how things end sometimes. But
Mm.
there's always a new story waiting to be told.
Mm. They look over the detective novels and things and gently nod.
And the kid that they did while they were still alive wasn't erased either. So you can always look back on that, at least.
Mm. Sort of blink at him because that was a very strange way of putting it, but yes. I think at that point, like the thing that distracts them is, should be someone here. There's someone who isn't here and also hasn't had lunch yet because they're not here. Um, does the first of our two cameos want to make an appearance?
Baby time!
It's baby time.
Ha. Hello.
Hi,
I am
Magic!
here.
Magic, beloved.
I've totally been zoned in this entire time. Let me roll a strength to get the trapdoor up. 17. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah!
you guys don't have to roll perception for this, but I'm assuming while you're looking at the books and the newspaper articles, there's a loud bang from the trapdoor as it's pushed open with a considerable amount of force. Uh,
Mm. Blue immediately spreads their arms out like a scarecrow, waiting for a hug.
Oh!
uh, Camille, what you see is someone that is even smaller than you sort of barrel into Glue's arms.
Mm.
It is a small tune. Uh, it is a small tune. She has this kind of sort of half curly hair. She's wearing an oversized jacket. Um, she looks very small. Very
Oh!
portable.
Mm.
And she shouts "Glue!" As she goes into their arms.
Mm.
Oh, baby! There is definitely a part of Camille that's just like, finally, someone smaller than I am.
Mm. And she's wrapped up extremely tight, and you hear from above you, Moss. Just Moss, Moss, Moss.
Oh!
they, they sort of like hold her up at arm's length, like, ah, yes, my pride and joy, and sit her very firmly down at the table, um, and reach over without getting up, with their horribly long arms, and snatch the gingham wrap plate. It is lunchtime.
It is lunchtime. I'm going to roll a perception to see if she even notices that there is another child in the room.
Mm.
Because there is a possibility she does not. Um,
Glue will Glue will look up and sort of gesture at Camille, and they'll say in familiar voice, Camille would like working on this case.
Huh? Oh, hi. And Moss turns her giant toon eyes to you, Camille, and she attempts to hold her hand out from across the table. She has to stand up. It does not make it across the table.
That's fine. Camille kind of laughs a bit before he stands up, walks a little bit closer, and shakes Moss's hand. Like,
Hi,
hello.
I'm Moss. You're Camille?
He nods like, yeah, that is my name.
She is just bouncing in my mind. I hope you know
Oh,
this.
child meet child.
Child meet child. What you doing up here?
Oh, well, I was wondering if I could help Glue with some things, and I was also looking for someone myself.
Oh, who you looking for? Maybe I've seen them.
I'm looking for Tome.
Oh, I haven't seen Tome in a while. And she's kind of like doing a little thing where she's like putting her fingers and pressing them together.
Well, that's okay. I haven't seen him in a while either. Mentally, he is making that note, and there's a little bit of a glint in his eyes as he makes that mental note.
Also,
Avoiding him is one thing. Avoiding this pure little sunshine child that he can tell from meeting them within 5 seconds is another matter entirely.
Camille, I did make a note earlier in the FPS for the rhythm background thing. Do you want that?
Sure.
Um, Moss's tune, you probably kind of heard it when the door banged open. It's this sort of like loud, bubbly tune. I'm thinking like Kirby Green Hills here. But there's this very strange sort of undertone that doesn't quite fit with the patterning.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyway.
That's fun.
I will also say, it's if you're tuning back into tunes, for tunes, if you happen to glance or listen in on Glue, you can hear a very faint melody for them that appears to be a little bit yours and a little bit Moss.
Oh, that is fun.
Almost like an echo.
Yeah, he does mentally take note of that, and, well, even if it is still a little bit concerning, that is better than silence.
God. I wiggle.
I wiggle at you back. And Camille is doing his best to be amiable and is just like, so you live here with Glue?
Uh-huh. I live here with Glue and Cass, and I got neat stuff.
I can tell.
She kind of like runs over to the bed a minute, picks up one of the chicken stuffed animals, and brings it over to you. It's a red one, and like hands it to you. This is Princess Diantha. She runs off. She picks up another one of the chickens that are another one of the multicolored chickens.
Oh my gosh.
Runs back, holds out a green one to you. This is Timothy. Hands you the chicken. These chickens are not like small, by the way.
Oh, that is wonderful. A few more chickens and he's going to be all chicken.
She runs back over to the bed, picks up another chicken, hands it to you. This is Prince Alexander. I'm not even gonna have you roll insight. It's very obvious she's probably making this up on the spot what their names are.
Oh, I love her.
She takes one more chicken, runs back over, and this is Bart.
All right, and should I roll athletics or acrobatics to see if he can stay standing with all these chickens?
Athletics.
All right, athletics because okay.
I am so sorry for slightly derailing.
No, it's fine. His strength is even worse than Moss's, by the way, and that's wonderful to me. So as you hand him the last chicken, he's been trying very hard to balance all of these, but the last chicken is what does it, and he kind of just falls over onto his butt and is now covered in chickens.
Are you okay?
Don't worry, I'm fine.
Are you
Glue
sure?
lifts
I
him
can
out
help
of
you
the
up.
chickens.
You've been plucked out of the chickens. Congratulations.
Gosh.
A question: have you tiny children been good and eaten your lunch?
Moss has not started. She got excited.
They put the sandwich in front of Moss. Has Camille eaten his sandwich?
Camille probably got through it since he started munching back when he was investigating the room.
In that case, they go to the tall fridge and they pull out something flat and cylindrical, very wide, and cut a slice out of it. And it's not until it's put on a plate and deposited in front of you that you realize this is a very dry, but it's tasty smelling fruitcake.
Camille kind of
Moss is now munching on a sandwich.
Camille kind of blinks down. It's like, that is, okay.
It's really good. She takes another bite of her sandwich.
Well, thank you. God, she's not been babied in so long. This feels weird. But he's gonna start doing a munch.
I think actually Glue will leave them to their sandwich and their cake respectively. A slice is put aside for Moss. However, she knows she is not allowed to have it until she has her grilled cheese. And they're going to go look through the library for someone else who also probably needs a grilled cheese. Hey Spec, what's Tome up to?
I'm sorry. When you said someone else who needs a grilled cheese, I was not expecting it to be told. Like, what's Tome up to?
Oh my gosh.
Hello everyone. I gotta ping someone real quick.
So fun, thank you all.
Okay, wait, I have to unmute myself on my recording. There you go. Good question. What is Tom up to? I was not prepared. I was too busy losing it at the children. Oh God. You know what? I'm gonna roll. I had an idea. Tome knows this is gonna be really funny, by the way, because this is gonna require because I already know how this is gonna end. So the fact they're in the it wasn't the attic, but it's like the high up. It's where Glue took Tome that one time, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna roll a stealth because I have a really funny plan. And it's going to give me a very awkward Spider-Man meme possibility. Would you guys like to make perceptions?
Oh my gosh. Are you okay?
17.
All of us?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, all of you.
That's a 26.
Oh,
Listen. Oh God.
Sight.
Listen, Here's the thing. No matter what, Tome has a way of escaping this. We never said that this would be a long cameo. We just said this. Wait, actually, all of you. Wait, did Glue leave?
Glue did
I
leave.
forgot Glue left. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. I'm gonna
Okay.
hold on to those perceptions though.
You can catch him, you can catch them before, they make it through, opening the trap door is not,
I can flavor this. Because those are really high rolls from you two, and what do kids like to do? Eavesdrop. I can flavor this. I can flavor my mistakes. I'm together, don't you know? I'm totally prepared for this.
Well, that puts you in the right mindset for Tome.
Yeah, it does. Thanks. You're not wrong. I told you I can't do a Tome FPS. You saw the one FPS I did with Tome where I was in a decent, not panic mental state. We had so many audio problems. So we've removed the curse because I'm panicking.
but
Glue, as you get down to the bottom of the stairs, you see a familiar detective looking just as stressed as he has been these past couple of days, weeks. I don't know how long it's been since that one FPS. Since the lower FPS. And he kind of runs a hand through his hair as he takes his hat off. Glue, there you are. I didn't know where I didn't see you hanging around the library, so I figured I'd head this way and check in on you.
They nod and sort of take him by the arm to lead him back the way they came, sort of slowly, because he appears to be sort of not in a state. He's in a state.
Yeah, Tom's having a day. Where are we going? Did you get some more leads on the case?
They do a seesaw motion with their hand, and then they go, grilled cheese.
There's a laugh. I appreciate it, but if you're taking me to see Moss during lunch, I told you I'd prefer not to visit right now, okay? Just tell Moss I said hi. All right, I can skip lunch with you guys again. Maybe next time. And there's a weak smile.
They look absolutely crushed.
Don't do that to Tome.
Their expression doesn't change. However, they look absolutely crushed.
Tome pauses and he rubs a hand over his face. Glue, we've discussed this. I'm very busy. That's how things are. It's really busy, and I just can't, okay? I'm gonna roll a deception.
Oh boy.
Sure.
Yeah, he's holding himself pretty well together. A little more exhausted than usual, but he's holding himself together.
Man, Glue's insight has been so bullied this FPS.
I guess. Yeah, what a wonderful bunch of truthful detectives. Anyways. I mean, there's still, I think this time there's, a glint of, they've stopped leading, they've stopped, inside or outside of the trapdoor. So they're no longer trying to, basically very gently, very friendly frogmore to you towards lunch. However, they think, they reach into their hammer space.
Oh no.
Oh wait, hang on.
Oh no.
And they pull out, and I want you to imagine capital letters on this, something precious, fragile, and expensive, and they've set it in your hands.
What?
It is something precious, fragile, and expensive, and you are holding it now.
Tome's just holding it, staring at it, and then at Glue.
and they leave you holding something that is precious, fragile, and expensive in your hands as they go to fetch you a sandwich.
No, Glue. Don't do this to me. No, you know how the rule of funny acts with me. You can't. Glue, don't.
They're gone. You can't do this.
There is a defeated lowering of his head. This is why I can't even run my hands through my hair. I can't even nervous fidget. I can't move. Glue. We've talked about this.
We have to be able to hear Tome shouting through the trapdoor. We
so
have
hear
to.
Tome.
Oh,
You can
absolutely.
hear this
See
man
Glue
throwing
just
a
sort of
little
like
fit.
Yeah, I
you
think
also Glue goes through the trapdoor and starts very calmly making a sandwich, and then like making a little baggie of carrots. You know.
hearing the shout and seeing Glue make another grilled cheese, Camille's just, is Tome here? And he is standing up.
Oh no, you're about to put Tome in the worst situation of his life.
Moss is also scrambling to her feet because she hasn't seen Tome.
Don't make him run from both of them. This is gonna emotionally. Okay, Doc. God, this is gonna really put him in an emotional state for his next FPS. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
Okay, I have an idea.
Guys,
Yes.
They hand the grilled cheese to Camille.
You are a monster, and I hope you know that. Affectionate.
Yeah, and I think Camille kind of gives the both of them a smile and thanks Glue, like, I'll go give Tome his grilled cheese and then I can bring him back here, okay? And
I'll come with you.
God, this is
No.
about to go so bad for him.
And that is a deception. He is absolutely going to bring Tome back. Don't worry about this. He's simply just bringing out a grilled cheese.
Moss wants to go with you. You're going to have to give her a very, very good reason not to go with you. She is like 4 or 5.
Camille's kind of just like, well, I mean, what if you, set up a little surprise for Tome, since you haven't seen him in a while?
I can do that. Oh, what's Glue?
I hope you know that post this, Tome is gonna give Moss so many hugs because my heart has been hurting so much right now. Oh.
Yeah, and
makes you regret your life decisions.
Camille just gives both of them a nice little smile, like, I'll go let you figure that out. That way we can both be surprised.
Okay.
And
Glue will stop both of them, and they will pick Moss up and hold her very tightly and give her a hug. And I think like they put like a quarter of their hand on Camille's shoulder because they might believe Camille, but they also saw the look in Tome's face. And they're just going to focus on giving their little girl all the love and attention and the reassurance that she is loved beyond doubt that she needs when her favorite uncle can't come up.
I'm having emotions, thank you.
Man, I'm also having emotions.
Camille does give Glue a little bit of a nod, and then probably slips away to go give Tome his grilled cheese.
Well, this is about to end him in a state.
Moss is very excitedly babbling about like what sort of surprise they could do.
And yeah, Tome.
I already have the whiz safe prepped.
What you see come down out of the attic is not Glue, but rather very, very much, very, very much a very, very small 6-year-old who zeroes in on you the moment he's able to see you.
I don't know. Both of these rolls are lying. I know how Tome's reacting to this. No, both of those rolls are lying to me. Tome stares for a second, and the color washes from him. And I'm going to make a very quick dex save because I'm so sorry. That's a very precious object. Yes, it is. Actually, I'm going to do sleight of hand. I'm going to give him a slight. Nope, that's the same modifier. Never mind.
It's also fragile and
Okay.
expensive.
Okay, I'm
Yes,
going to
I
have
don't think.
I'm going to have Camille make a dex save. Okay.
Because Tome's going to drop that on instinct.
Yeah. Tome, you kind of fumble with it.
Yeah, he loses all color and his hands start trembling so bad he can't hold it anymore.
Yeah, and Camille kind of just dives and catches it in his hat.
There, I'm going to make one more check. Yeah, there is a moment as Tome steps back and he takes one look at you, and I'm not going to even make you insight this. He looks absolutely shattered to see you. And he is going to cast Expeditious Retreat, as Warrens can do.
Man,
And
I
he
hope
is going.
I hope you're ready to deal with a rogue.
Oh, beloved, I have backup. I have a lot of backup plans. He is going to sprint as fast as he can.
God, Camille is hat abandoned because something very precious and fragile and expensive is in there. And he's gonna be chasing after Tome. Like, Tome, wait!
Tome is slipping, sliding around corners, trying to find literally the closest dim light place he can get. Because he has Eldritch invocations, one with shadows. And he knows he just has to get to some place where you can't see him in clear light. So he is scrambling through this library.
And there is a child hot on your heels.
For legal reasons, he cannot catch Tome, I think. Well, he
Yeah,
can
for
maybe
legal
catch Tome.
reasons.
I'm going to roll. He can maybe catch him for a second.
Yeah, for legal reasons, he cannot
Tome.
catch Tome permanently.
That's a stealth. He is not doing well at this.
Fair. I mean, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. Camille, is not going to be catching Tome, because remember, to grapple someone, you have to make an athletics roll.
Oh.
That's an 8.
Yeah, I look at yeah. I mean, his dex isn't the best, but yeah.
That's a nat 20.
That's a nat 20 of don't touch me.
Yeah, like, Camille actually somehow manages to catch up and, like, makes a dive for you. But that's a nat 20.
You get to the door and you dive and you and Tome stands there at the door in the entrance, half open, and just goes, I'm Camille, and just shakes his head and takes a step back and then just sprints out.
Yeah, and there's another. Tome, come back here!
And there are alleyways on both sides of a building, I'm willing to bet, and you just ate dirt.
Yeah.
I will say I can roll a stealth just to flavor it, but I'm willing to bet. Yeah, Tome managed to slip into an alleyway and go invisible.
Yeah. Yeah.
that or something else made it to where he was no longer visible. Just getting scrubbed. But yeah, no, that's Tome's cameo. That's my eyes at all of you.
Thank you, Spec.
Thank you, Spec. And Camille just sighs and looks at the place where Tome was And he's just, do you really not want to see me that much? And he turns around and goes back into the library.
You don't get very far before you are met with Glue, who kneels down in front of you and will patch up any lost hit points, brush off any dirt if you'll let them, and just sort of, they hand you a pen and a piece of paper for you to get your thoughts out of your head if you need be. And they just sort of sit a respectful distance away and wait to see if you come over for comfort, or you sit with the paper, or you do whatever it is that you need to feel better after that.
Yeah. Will kind of just blinks before he lets out a little laugh, like, it's fine. I don't think we'll be able to avoid each other for too much longer. Besides, I know he comes here anyways.
They fold down and sort of donk their chin on top of your hat, which they
Well,
have replaced, and you can see they take the very expensive, fragile, and delicate thing, and they fiddle with the side, and then you see it. The light sort of shifts, and then you realize that's a cardboard box with a rune etched into the side of it. And they have temporarily deactivated the rune, and they stick it back in their hammerspace.
Camille kind of snorts like, oh, that is genius.
Mm.
And he does kind of sit back down, and probably pretty close to Glue, but not like
Yeah.
too close. And he just lets out a little sigh, and let's see. Okay, now we're gonna fumble again, I guess.
Oh boy. Actually, it's, if you want, you can also roll investigation on the. Oh boy, that's a 1. You can also roll investigation on the rune,
Alright,
because you did see Glue's handwriting.
yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Well, I guess he's compensating for the fact that he fumbles all the time with having good rolls elsewhere.
Oh boy. Yeah, with a 26, you know, handwriting differs from, writing to runes, but you're pretty sure that that's not, um, you're pretty sure that's not their handwriting.
Hmm.
And also, hey, they're a cleric. Unless they had some very specific feats, they wouldn't be able to make that sort of device anyway. Where'd they get that? And with a 26, I'll say that if you ever come across this handwriting again, you'll be able to recognize it.
Yeah, I think he's he's definitely making note of that. He was going to physically make note of that, but Laura does not want him to pull out his notebook right now, I guess, so we'll see what else he pulls out. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. We're getting
Oh boy.
another no, this one isn't a bad lore item. I'm just surprised it came out this early. Uh he pulls out a blue butterfly charm
Hmm.
and he kind of looks at it for a long moment, like his train of thought was just derailed. And you can roll insight on him if you want.
Oh boy, that's historically gone so well this evening. However, this is definitely the point where it will change. No.
No. Well, it's fine. He kind of has a faraway expression on his face for a moment, where he's just like, huh, I don't remember getting this. And just blinks, shakes his head, and stuffs it back in his hammer space. And let's try the roll again. Ah, God, it's another one of those days.
Oh no.
Okay, we already pulled that out earlier. We're not gonna do that again. Uh, okay. He pulls out what appears to be a sort of little, handwritten note, and you can roll perception to see what's on it.
Let's see here. Hey, Glue, you have huge fucking eyes, buddy. Please use them.
Nope.
No.
It's a note with
That's a
some
6,
writing on
folks.
it, and he puts it
Mm,
back in, and he's just
I
like,
think that I think they're probably trying to give him privacy.
which is fair, and he's just like, it's another one of those days. Yep, it is indeed another one of those days.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's see what you get. Okay. And he pulls out a skateboard
Mm.
and just, no, Lar, it's just a skateboard. And he's like, okay. That's not even close.
Glue reaches over and hands him more paper.
And he's like, thank you, but I probably should actually write it in the notebook. And I'm dying, author. Okay, that fell.
Glue is just like persistently holding out the paper.
Okay, that is something that is currently not in his hammer space because he loaned that out to someone. Why do you keep getting a 9? I don't want to pull that out again. Okay. Okay, that's funny. He pulls out Tome's jacket.
Mm. Oh boy.
And he's just like, now I can get it. Okay. And finally, stuffing that back into his hammer space, he pulls out a little notebook. Uh,
Gosh.
gosh. Of course, the jacket gets pulled out the moment that Tom's not here, and he kind of flips through the notebook and starts uh, writing down various things.
Mm-hmm.
He it is in Thieves' Cant, so Glue probably can't read it. Uh, but you can see him add notes onto a pre-existing page before he flips to an entirely new one and starts writing down uh some new information. And
Mm.
he might actually try to copy the rune that he saw, or at least an
Oh
approximation
boy.
of it.
You absolutely may. And in the meantime, is Doc here? Okay. Glue will, if Camille will let them, take the jacket and walk out of the library over to the shadow that uh Tome um Tome stepped through. And they're going to write a note and put it in the pocket and sort of knock politely on the shadow and hope it works.
Yeah, you're You're probably not going to be able to get the jacket because Camille already shoved it back in his hammer space.
Never mind then.
Unfortunately, because for gag reasons, Tome's not allowed to get that jacket back.
For gag reasons.
For gag reasons. And yeah, so he's gonna try and copy down that rune. It's probably going to be an approximation because it's what he remembers, but I leave that up to you.
Roll me a con, please.
Okay, because he is such good con. Okay, that's just a straight 13. He doesn't have any positive modifiers to his con.
Okay, let me check the DC. Oh boy, that doesn't make it. Please take, for this, it would be, please take 2 psychic damage, and in the back of your head, you can hear, sort of an irate voice grumble something.
He kind of blinks at that, like, huh. And he's gonna. Would that be an Arcana roll to see what kind of thing that is?
Sure.
Okay. Cool. Okay. It's nat 20.
Shit, okay. A nat 20. Oh, which fucking document is it? Here we go. So you can tell that this is an anti-copying spell, but a homemade one. This was someone who was, probably some sort of academic who was in a position to make spells, putting in basically a security layer so that no one could plagiarize their work. And with the nat 20, you probably get that the voice in your head is a pre-recorded, an echo of the original caster. Probably says something along the lines of "fuck off."
Oh, wonderful.
And it's interesting because it has a little bit of evocation, a little bit of divination. Like it appears to be blending different magics together. And this one was probably, a prototype. You can imagine this in sort of a more advanced form that does more than a d4 of damage. But at the point that this rune was scribed into this cardboard box, this was still sort of in production.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Oh, also, because that was a nat 20, I'll say that the voice is vaguely familiar.
Interesting. Camille
and you
does.
heard it today.
Camille does make note of that. Does not try and copy the rune again. Cause
Good fella.
Yeah, unlike someone. And he is kind of just like, huh. That sure is interesting.
By the way, I love that Camille is like, well, I probably shouldn't do that. And Tome was just like, guess I'll die.
Yeah, he knows that there are other ways of getting the information that he needs. Uh,
Mhm.
and he is just, where did you get that?
They point to the bib of their overalls, which is their hammer space.
Well, before your hammer's face.
They shrug.
He nods and makes note of that too.
Hmm. They have left Moss with Hildegard, so they will just go make sure that Moss is not too crushed. That her new friend, spooked her uncle so bad that he ran away.
Honestly, if
There,
Camille goes long, he'll probably just make something up like, oh yeah, Tome almost dropped that thing, so he got spooked and ran off.
mm,
Because he's a bastard like that. But if Glue motions for him to stay behind, he will.
it's it is completely up to him, honestly. They're more concerned in this moment with Moss.
That's fair. I'll roll D2. Yeah, he stays put.
Mm.
Hi, do you want me to do more cameo stuff or?
It is up to you, dear.
Alright. God, I'm imagining just Moss like coloring a sheet of paper,
Mhm,
oblivious.
mm. Glue will come and sit by her.
She kind of like perks up and like looks at Glue and then looks around. And then looks around again.
Mm. Sort of pull her into their lap, paper and all.
Is Tom not visiting?
They nod very sadly.
Oh, that's okay. I say, rolling. Everything's fine. That's a 12.
Mm.
Hmm.
Days Parkster, I swear to fuck. If you fuck my poor cryptid again, I swear to fuck.
She does not think this situation is fine.
Mm.
She does not.
They give her an extra squeeze and sort of a chin a chin tap to the forehead.
Mm.
Sort of wait for her to say something.
Sorry, she's been giving me emotions for the past. How long has this conversation been going? 20 minutes?
Oh gosh.
She gives Tome Tome. She gives Glue a very watery looking smile.
Mm.
Just it's okay. I'll see him next time.
Mm. You are lifted up and held, and there's a very large hand that just sort of rests on your back. Very much the same way that they held you when you first arrived to the library.
She kind of like face plants and snuggles in.
Mm. Just stay like that for a while.
Yeah.
I think like after a while, there's recording of someone humming a song that they've hummed for her before.
Mhm. God.
Yup.
Eh.
And they just like they they'll stay like that for a long while, and then give her another basically their approximation of a forehead kiss, and deposit her back in Hildegard's lap, and go check on the other child.
The other child is currently doing a think. Uh, he's kind of in the very obvious usual detective thinking uh pose, like
Oh boy.
hand to chin, uh kind of tapping his pen against the notebook. And he does look up when Glue comes over.
Just sort of sit cross-legged, across from him, and wait.
And he's the little gears in his head are turning as he knows he heard that voice before, but he can't quite pinpoint where. Figures it was probably he was mostly just doing a think, and kind of just looks up like, oh, I forgot to ask before. It's a bad habit of just going ahead. But um, would you mind if I looked a bit into your case too?
Mm. They shake their head. That's fine. And they sort of look in the direction of Tome and sort of shrug, and they go, and sort of this female sort of Rush or Scottish accent that I can't quite pinpoint yet. Sorry, Chloe. I think he's done.
With your case?
They shrug. They guess so.
Well, if
He just left.
well then, I can take over for him, at least until I drag him back here.
They nod. That would be good. I think that they hand him back the business card that he got at the beginning of their encounter, just in case he needs them again.
Oh. Camille does give Glue a bit of a smile and is like, thank you. And he does, uh, slot that into his notebook. And he
And
taps the pen against his notebook a bit again before he's just, uh, you have anything else with those runes? Or at least something like them?
they think, and they sort of look contemplatively at their overall. It's like, what else? What other dangers lie within? Okay. They pull out let's see. What would they have?
Mm-hmm.
They pull out it looks like a gardening trowel. Oh well, and I just realized that I went in the rolled in the gallery. Thank you, beloved.
Happens.
They pull out what seems to be a gardening trowel. Would you like to roll Arcana?
I would love to. Alright. I guess you boys are really into this.
Oh boy, okay. It's interesting because you can see actually much better runes etched into the metal sort of burnt in there. And it's interesting because when you run your finger along the blade of the trowel, it feels actually, rather dull. Enough so that like you're not sure how well it would work as a trowel anymore. But when you sort of go to set it aside to make a note, it actually sinks partially into the tile.
Interesting.
And if you apply any leverage, you can pull up just a little, like a cake, almost like a cake dollop of flooring.
Very interesting. He does kind of look over it like, sorry.
They shrug. This is a Toon library. You don't think they have the floors insured?
That is very true. And yeah, he does not try to copy the rune again.
Mm-hmm.
He mostly just notes down kind of what he sees that it does and what it's on. And maybe at most the shapes that the rune is comprised of. Like, doesn't actually draw out the shapes, just like writes down if it has a circle or if it's in a square, that sort.
And I'll say a 24. This is the second time you rolled above a 20 for one of these. It pieces together. The handwriting reminds you of a book that you saw in this library.
Alright. May I roll history on that?
Sure.
Let's see if your boy he does finally get nerfed. I knew it wouldn't last forever. That's a 7.
7. It was on a shelf or maybe part of a display, and it had a brown cover. No, a tan cover. No, it was like, it had a picture cover. No, wait, shit. You can't quite get it. Sorry.
Yeah, he just sighs like, this is why I write everything down. But then he perks up because wait a minute, Glue knows where books are. And he kind of points at the writing like I remember seeing a book with this on it or something like this writing on it. Would you happen to know where?
They sort of take it from him, and this is interesting. I didn't expect this to be activated yet.
Oh.
A 15 history. You see their eyes sort of flick over this, and for a second, like you're actually, heartened because your insight's good enough to be like, yes, they see it, they know, like they know exactly where this is. But then similar to earlier, that just sort of drains out of them, and again they are left sort of cold and listless, and can actually hear that their theme song, such as it was, um, has stopped again.
Yeah, that does freak him out just a little bit. And he's just, are you okay?
They sort of look up with the start and they nod.
His shoulders slump a bit and he sighs like, okay, good. It seems like you had something and then it was gone, and he's a little bit freaked by it. And he just handed me why he's freaked, actually.
Oh yeah?
Uh,
You want to share on call, or do you want to save it for later?
uh, you can roll insight if you want. Uh, if
Oh
not, I'll
boy.
give it to the audience. Uh,
Blue, please.
please, you have a +6. Damn!
12. Oh my god.
Yeah, Glue just gets that he is a little bit freaked by something. Not quite sure what. For the
Mm,
audience, because of the nature of the rhythm working for pretty much everyone except for the dead and the undead, when the rhythm stops for someone, it uh very much in a way to him feels like they're dying on him. It's not a good feeling. Uh And fun fact, he has witnessed the rhythm stop for someone before, so whenever that happens to Glue, he does get a little reminder.
oh boy. It,
Uh, so yeah, uh, yeah, he's just a little bit freaked, but when
mm,
Glue says they're okay, he does relax just a bit.
Blue has actually hmm, roll me your own insight check, because unfortunately, they're going to jump to conclusions.
Oh boy.
Okay, 19. They sort of recoil and they look very concerned, and you kind of get that they have made the assumption that they have done something to scare him, and they didn't mean to. They really didn't.
And Camille blinks like, oh, no, you're fine. Really. I was just, reminded of something. And I will give you another chance for insight if you so want.
Oh, why not? I'm a glutton for punishment.
Maybe this time.
Maybe this time.
No.
Are you fucking serious?
What if I looked
You know what?
away? What if I looked away?
Oh, now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I yeah, when he says that he was reminded of something, he is very much telling you the truth. It's not at all something that you did, but rather something that he perceived that freaked him out.
Mm,
And now that you are, like, replying to him and are there, he has calmed down a bit. But you can probably guess from the memory that from the way he was acting, it very much was not a good memory.
mm, gosh. Man. I think that they'll um they hold out their arms sort of halfway through the motion of picking him up and look to see if that's fine.
Yeah, he blinks, but he doesn't
Mm.
complain.
You are suddenly about 9 feet in the air. Have fun with that.
Suddenly he is
And
tall.
it's, unless there's anything else, I have a little bit of an epilogue, but unless there's anything else that we need to talk about, we need to do, I think that they just go and they collect moss and they just sort of they spend the rest of the afternoon just sort of like everyone working quietly in tandem, everyone just sort of being near each other and reading and working on their case and playing with their things. Um, just being reminded that they are not alone.
Oh. Yeah, I think Camille does end up relaxing a bit. He doesn't seem to be pursuing the case as hard with Moss there. Though it is obvious he still has some questions, even when it's about time for him to be heading home.
Mm-hmm.
So you can assume that he's going to be back.
Mm.
Uh, Especially because if they're in the attic, he's not actually going to go over and like pick them up and start reading, but he does eye a few of those books on the nature of magic and multi-classing.
Mm. Actually, it's as you go through those books that your eye sets on treatise of the use of necromantic magic in arcane agriculture. And you have a eureka moment because, oh, it's not exactly the same, but you think that those ruins in this book, or at least its author, might be connected.
Hmm. He does make note of that. Uh,
Mm.
though he probably won't dig too much into the book just yet. He
Mm.
doesn't know a lot about necromancy magic for certain lore reasons.
Fair enough. Do you look at the author's name?
Sure.
Mm. Professor Pete Moss et al.
And he does, in fact, make note of that.
Mm. You'd have to actually open it up in order to see who the et al is. Um, However,
Yeah, he'll probably flip it open to read the et al. Uh, the
it's a treatise on a clinical study that was done by the Professor Moss. Apparently, no connection to the little girl you've spent this afternoon with, and one ampersand R.
hmm, interesting.
Mm.
And he takes note of that
Mm-hmm.
before
And
he gently slides the book back onto the shelf.
mm-hmm.
He's sure that it's gonna be there later. I look at something magic said.
Mm. And if you'll permit me, if someone else has a or if you have a an epilogue as well, once Moss has been tucked in bed, and perhaps once Camille has been sent on his way, with firm instructions to come back anytime he likes, um, Lou sort of steps out into the gleaming orange twilight outside of Toontown Public Library. They sort of stop and they look confused. They sort of do some soul searching. Oh, they're angry. Okay. And they go just walking the streets for a while, keeping an eye out for someone tall and orange.
Oh boy.
Anyways, thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for having this FPS with me, author.
Thank you for having this FPS with me. I feel like I talked a lot.
I is that not what FPSs are for?
This is true.
It's very good. I am rotating all of this lore around in my mind. Thank you.
Gosh. Thank you again. Thank you, our wonderful, wonderful guest stars, for being flexible and coming on recording.
Yeah, and thank you also to the entire audience. That is a lot of people, and we love you all.
Yes, all of you. We love. Bye, folks.
Bye!